Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another Dead Walking Dead character video. This episode will be on Len, a member of the Claimers. Len is of course male. He is played by Marcus Hester. He is mid-30s and first appeared in Claimed. Not much is known about Len's life pre-outbreak, but he may have been a hunter by profession, or at the very least it was a hobby of his, because he is seen to be very proficient with his compound bow. When the outbreak began, Len probably survived on his own, maybe attacking some defenseless women along the way, but soon he found the Claimers, although he wasn't with them for too long it seems, as he wasn't present in the web episode. He joined the group, travelling around, adopting Joe's rules of claiming what they wanted, and vowing not to steal those claimed items, or to lie. In Season 4, Len is first heard helping Joe and the other Claimers torture and kill a man who they are holding captive. I personally think this guy that they're torturing is another Claimer, probably one of those guys from the web episode. That's just my personal canon, and maybe he's just broken the rules, but they clearly then kill this man that they've had a dispute with, laughing as he cries. Len soon arrives upstairs to find Tony asleep on a bed, not knowing that Rick is underneath said bed. Len wants the bed, and Tony suggests the other ones, but they're Kid's bed, and he wants this one. Tony tells him he claimed it, but Len didn't hear it, so he pulls him off the bed and begins to fight Tony for it. Len punches Tony to the ground and begins to choke him. Tony tells Len to stop, but Len says no, it's his bed now, and chokes Tony out. The man then climbs onto the bed victorious and begins to sleep. So much so, he's fast asleep when Rick crawls from beneath the bed. Joe wakes Len up and forces him to come downstairs and informs him a woman has been shacking up here. Len asks if she's hot and Joe says he doesn't know because she ain't here, but they found her freshly washed shirt. Len tells Joe he wants to claim this unknown woman, who obviously is Michonne, when she comes back to the house, implying that, yes, he's gonna do what you think he will to her. Joe tells him to be ready and orders him to guard the side room. Len says he'll get a gun now and heads up the stairs and is asked about Tony's whereabouts. Later, a zombified Lou attacks, and Len helps to deal with him, figuring out from Tony, when he wakes, that there was a man in the house who must have murdered Lou. The men begin to track this murderer. Whilst travelling, Len and the others come across Daryl in the road, sulking. Len gets his compound bow ready and takes aim at Daryl when he punches Joe. Len lays his claim on Daryl's vest because he likes them wings. Joe tells everyone to hold up and eyes Daryl up for size. Len asks Daryl if he got himself in some trouble, laughing. Joe diffuses the situation and introduces himself to Daryl. Len spits on the ground with disgust, but Daryl is added to their group. At some point, Daryl explained to the men that his friend Beth was taken. Len then helps to set up camp in the woods and is woken up by a zombie alerting their little trap. Tony comments Daryl is gone, but Len highlights his stuff is here, so he's probably just gone out for a big old shit. Later, Len finds Daryl hunting a rabbit in the woods and shoots it with an arrow at the same time as Daryl. Daryl protests and Len tells him he's hunting breakfast and his arrow hit first, so the rabbit is his. He tells Daryl the rules of the hunt don't mean shit out here and the rabbit has been claimed and he better hand it over. He speculates that Beth has messed Daryl's head up, saying she must have been a good piece of tail. He asks Daryl if she was one of the little ones because they don't last long out here. Daryl almost stabs Len, but Joe comes and defuses it once again. Len explains that he claimed it and Joe says, well, that's that then. He hears Joe explaining the rules to Daryl, and Daryl seems to reject them. Len tells Joe they've got to teach him, aka beat the shit out of him. Joe sums up that it wouldn't be fair because Daryl doesn't know the rules, and Len seems mad. Joe decides to instead chop the rabbit in two and give each man half. He storms off pissed. Len walks across some train tracks and watches his teammates kill a walker. Joe points out a building, saying it's going to be their bed for the evening. Len goes inside to give it a look-see, and he claims a truck cab, mocking Daryl. He watches Daryl sleep on the floor. Off screen, Len planted his half of the rabbit in Daryl's bag when he went to go take a piss, and then confronts Daryl asking for it back, pretending that Daryl stole it, saying nobody else would want half of a rabbit. Len orders him to empty his bag, but Daryl refuses. Joe then takes the bag off Daryl and empties the bag, and both half of the rabbits fall out. Daryl figures he planted it and pushes Len angry, and Len calls him a liar and a thief. He wants Daryl to be taught a lesson, taught all the way, but Joe points out there's two possibilities here. Either Daryl is lying, or Len planted it there like some pussy punk ass cheating coward cop. Len lies and says he didn't plant it, causing Joe to punch Len in the face, sending him crashing to the ground, as Joe had witnessed him planting it, and now Len has broken a rule by lying. Joe then tells his men to teach Len a lesson, teach him all the way, and then the Claimers do this to Len.
Sick of it. Teach them all the way.
Beaten to death by the Claimers, he's then shot in the head with one of his own arrows, either to finish him off or to stop him from turning. His body is then left there in the leaves in the dirt to rot. R.I.P. Len. Okay, so Len was a disgusting, horrible piece of shit. Daryl, if Daryl had no heart. He literally was the evil other side of the coin of Daryl. I mean, he had the bow and everything. Len was clearly a rapist, a murderer, and a lying thief, and he fucked around and he found out. His character and death showed that Daryl could readapt to the Claimers. It showed Daryl that Joe wasn't such a bad guy. How wrong Daryl was. Anyway, thanks for watching, and tell me your thoughts on Len. Now, this video was chosen in episode 309 via the wheel. However, it's been a year, and not only have I lost all of my wheel footage, I can't seem to get the wheel back. Now, I planned these videos ahead of time, so the next profile was already picked by the wheel, but I just don't have the footage, so drum roll, please. It's Mateus and Rose. So I'll be doing my profile on them next week. And then we'll also be continuing the wheel properly as well. So thanks for watching. Goodbye.